Hello YouTube, and today we have another Etheria video, and we're going to be talking about something I talked about last video. It is the rerun banner for Lilium. As you guys can see here, we have Lilium rerunning from the 9th of October until the 22nd. I'm not really too sure why they're rerunning her. It just seems like it's mostly for the new players, I guess, and for China, like with Korea and Japan, the Asia regions that joined the fray. But okay, I guess we have the Lilium rerun about a month and a half after her banner came out. I guess it was 2 months now, huh? But essentially, this character is a very good character. We're going to talk about if you actually want to pull her. So this is my Lilium. Basically, the way this character works is she's amazing for both PvE and PvP. The reason is because for PvE, she does a ton of single target damage to bosses, right? She has this ability on her S3 where she can do extra damage to targets above 60% by 50% damage. And also when the target is a boss, you do 50% extra damage. So you're just doing a ton of damage. This character can one-shot pretty much every single boss in the game, I'd say, and she's used in every single one-shot comp for every single boss, including thresholds and shells. So essentially she is amazing for one-shotting bosses. On top of that, she's really good for PvP, right? We have this passive effect that makes her immune to control and turn meter. Currently, the most frustrating playstyle to play against is CC, where you kind of just get like perma-frozen, perma-stunned, you can't move at all, and Lilium is a very good counter to it. However, I will say, I do think Lilium's usefulness is kind of overrated. And in terms of PvE especially, even though she's amazing for super fast clears, we recently had the banner for Yeli, who most people actually rerolled for, and I think she's an amazing character that if you have her, you probably don't need Lilium for PvE. And the reason why is because even though Yeli won't be as fast as clearing for Lilium for like one-shotting bosses, for progressing into PvE, Yeli is a lot better for newer players because she has a built-in crit rate buff on her S3, so you don't actually need as much crit rate. And also because of the fact that she has a defense down and can also dispel, which is extremely powerful on a lot of bosses. So I think for newer players, if you already have Yeli, for PvE purposes, Lilium is definitely not a character you actually need. Yeli is good enough for PvE content, and on top of that, she is also able to be used like Lilium in every single boss for just every single dungeon right now. Also, Yeli can actually be used in one more area of content. So currently, a lot of people that are starting up the game, they are progressing into Doki Doki because it drops the speed gear, the Swift Rush gear. And you're going to see that Yeli is actually in, maybe not like the fastest clears, but in a lot of the clears, you'll also see that Yeli is being used here. So if you actually scroll down, there's one down here. There's also one up here, right? So you can see that even though she's not the most commonly used character here, 3 out of the most recent, I think it's like, or 4 out of the most recent, like 15 runs, she's used in. So she's a really good DPS, while Lilium can't be used at all in Doki Doki. So Yeli has the upside of being able to be used in one more area of content. So that's like a plus. The only downside, like I mentioned, is she does clear a bit slower in the single target fights, and there is more RNG with her follow-up attacks. But Yeli as a whole, very good character. If you have her for PvE, you definitely do not need Lilium. However, I will say for PvP content, they do fit different uses. They're both good in PvP, don't get me wrong. But Yeli is mostly used for a cleave style gameplay where you're taking the first turn, you're one-shotting the enemies off the opener. This is really gear intensive. You need to just outspeed the opponents on a lot of your characters. So because of that, this playstyle isn't going to be for everyone. So if you're thinking about PvP, Yeli, if you're not playing like a cleave fast playstyle, you are not going to be really able to use her. However, Lilium is going to be a character that you can use in a ton of different playstyles. You can use her in that cleave fast setup because if you think about it, she's like nuking something, so it has to be good if you go first. And in a bruiser or in a like a counter pick situation, she's really good. She has lifesteal built in. She has this, HP seal, which affects PvP, where you can reduce max HP on health scaling bruisers, which makes them heal less and do less damage. And you also have this immunity to crowd control and turn meter, which will make her a very good counter pick, which pretty much makes her unpower capable. So definitely a character that is really strong for PvP. Although she's not as good anymore, I'd say, as before because we have a lot of new units coming out, but she's still a very solid option. Now, if you are low on those summons, I wouldn't really worry about it too much. If you don't have Lilium, if you don't have Yeli, and you couldn't get, Yeli off the last banner, the thing is, you don't have to swipe to pull for them. And what I mean by that is, if you're missing Lilium and Yeli, it is fine. There's so many good DPS in the game right now that just came out. Didding's pretty good, right? You can use him as a really good single target DPS for just pretty much all the areas of content that Yeli and Lilium would be used for as well. You can also use something like a Giada for Doki Doki, right? If you have your targeted summon or you actually pulled her, you can use her for, what's it called? Doki Doki as well, and also Aurora and some other areas of content. And even like a Rosa, if you have her, you can use in some areas of content as well. If I can find my Rosa. So yeah, definitely a lot of characters that you can use. You don't really have to bust your bank or your wallet to go for Yeli and Lilium. But these two characters are very good, and I would definitely recommend summoning on the banner for Lilium anyways, because the pity for banners in this game carries over for every single banner. The only banner it doesn't carry over for is... Actually, there's none. So it carries over on every single banner. You'll see guarantees carry over between summons of the same type, so this works for every single banner. But yeah, just wanted to make this video to let you guys know about Lilium and Yeli. I will be showcasing Lilium in a future video in Thresholds and Shells, so you can kind of make your team around her, because she's an amazing unit for PvE and also for PvP. But like I said, if you don't get her, it's not the end of the world, especially for PvE content. There's a lot of different options you can use for DPS. The only downside is for PvP, she's a really good counter pick, but there's a lot of ways to counter, control nowadays, so not the end of the world. However, it would be pretty strange to me to say all this and not show you guys the potential of Lilium. Like I said, in a future video, I'll show you guys team comps to one-shot every boss or just farm it in general with Lilium. But I'll show you guys a one-shot that you can do on Terramaton featuring Lilium with this team comp, and you're going to see that if you look at the damage that she puts out, it might make you want to pull for her, which is pretty understandable. So basically, the biggest thing about Lilium is when she hits targets above a certain threshold, which is 50% or 60% rather, she kind of does a lot of damage, and you'll see that right here. Boom, you'll see that she does about 80%, 70% of the boss's health. If you have better gear, you can actually one-shot the boss, which is actually hilarious. But you can see that her damage is absolutely crazy on this setup. So here we go, and essentially she will kill. I actually have a video of her completely one-shotting the boss without needing her S2 on my channel, but this one's a lot safer, so this is why I do it. But yeah, you can kind of see Lilium is a force to be reckoned with in PvP, or not PvP, in PvE in terms of speed farming, so this might sway you to want to pull for her. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's video though, guys. Thank you for watching and always supporting the channel. As I said, I will be uploading videos on Lilium in the future, so you can see how she actually does in Aurora as well. Not Doki Doki because she doesn't work there. And also for every single Shell Inferno boss. So make sure you guys subscribe to see that in the future, and I'll see you guys next video.